Okay, Brooke, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
Good. So, I feel like we have to start documenting and memorializing the fact that we've just gone through a pandemic and that the world's population has been wearing masks. We've actually had a custom-made one with our logo on it. But I'm saying this because, the numbers are radically dropping now, right? In Los Angeles, very much so. I was looking yesterday, and I don't think that there was any deaths yesterday in the county. Or if there was, it was very few. Much fewer people have contracted COVID. And if you look at the 5 most southern counties, the numbers are way down.
Well, that's great. I mean, we were doing horribly there for a while. I haven't looked at LA specifically, but I know California is doing, just hugely better than we were before, which is good news.
Yeah,
for us.
yeah. I mean, something's got to be said for the effort that Garcetti and Newman, they've made an effort, and I want to talk to you a little bit about how I've hated this experience, but the results are kicking in. I mean, here we are in April of 2021, and that's like blowing away what the forecast was as to where we're at, because the numbers right now I think are pretty equivalent to March of 2020.
Okay.
If you actually look at the number of people that have contracted, we're in that beginning stage now. We've gone almost full circle,
I mean, I can't believe it's been so long.
Yeah.
Time just doesn't make sense to me anymore.
Well, for you, it might seem that. For me, it seems very quick because, of course, I've got a little bit more of a sense of time, having gone through a few things in life and stuff. But, they were saying that, look, wait until November of 2021 before you get some any normalcy. Then Biden started talking about we're going to get everybody evacuated by the end of May. I don't think that anybody predicted in April that the numbers would be as low as they are right now. Now, of course, knock, 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 we could be into the next surge before you know it. But it's pretty optimistic, I think, right now that we're coming out of this thing.
I agree.
Yeah, businesses are open. The garage downstairs, all the cars are there again. I noticed that LA Fitness right below us has people running on those bicycles in the window. I mean, it feels good, but it also is kind of anticlimactic. When you're driving down the street, you're going, I thought there'd be some kind of a drum roll or something, man.
When the traffic's back.
Yeah. Well, that part I hate.
That's the worst. It's if I'm going to have to wear a mask, at least take the traffic away.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the masks, okay? I hate wearing a mask.
I don't really mind it. I was actually in Dallas this weekend, and it's completely different than Los Angeles. I felt so silly because I was the only person really wearing a mask when you're, even out like at outside dining, how we put on our mask if we're going to go to the bathroom or, just do any sort of walking. That is not the case there. And I mean, I think that shows that I must not mind the mask so much if I'm willing to put it on.
You've got the California mentality.
Yeah, I bought my first mask chain, which I've been putting off.
Oh.
And now it
I
seems
haven't seen one of those yet.
It's very handy. I wish I had gotten it earlier because I'm always kind of losing my mask, or I sit next to David and I have to joke with him to tell me if I forget to wear my mask. I'll just walk out of my office sometimes. So my chain is perfect and I don't have to forget it.
So you're saying that you have, this California mentality, which probably is what caused us to have really good results here.
Definitely.
On the other hand, there are states out there that have done fairly well without being so. I mean, Texas is kind of one of them.
And they're doing well. And I mean, I know they have somewhat high vaccination rates, higher than I expected, I guess. But I guess subconsciously I can't forget with that California mentality, like you're saying. I
was in a hotel restaurant last week. I had to see my doctor in the west end of town, and I sat outside, Marina Del Rey. I was looking at the beautiful ships, and put my hat on, forgot to put my mask on. I walked into the hotel, I was looking for the valet, and the mask monster popped out and said, "Sir, do you have a mask?" And of course she was right to do so, okay? And I felt a little bit defensive, and I felt like it was necessary to say, I've been vaccinated twice.
I've gone through the hardship.
I'm fully vaccinated, So when are we going to get down with this? I mean, we were talking, I don't know if it was me and David were talking, but, we're going to be out there before you know it, and the people are going to revolt, okay? If the numbers get to be even lower, when are people going to say, that's it, we're done? Because I don't think the government is going to give us an official day anytime soon.
I mean, I know New York has just come out that things are going to be reopened July 1st. I didn't look too closely to it because I'm,
No,
not
I'm talking
in New-
about these guys.
I know, but I guess the masks have to do with that too. Where,
Okay.
and the CDC just released something I think yesterday, sort of a graph of if someone's vaccinated and then where they are, and if they're with an unvaccinated person. If you're vaccinated, you can really technically not have to wear these masks outside unless you're at a concert. Or
What? I didn't know about this.
Oh, it just came out yesterday. So
I could right now walk across Lake Avenue, go get a cup of coffee, not wear a mask, and the cops aren't going to give me a ticket?
they are not supposed to. I mean, this is the recommendation from the CDC. According to the science, that's what's happening. But we don't walk around with anything that says we're vaccinated. So how are you going to prove
I'll wear
it?
something. I don't. You're right though, because you draw the ire of the people out there,
Yeah.
and that's worse than the cops stopping you.
Definitely. I mean, I'm still going to be wearing my mask just for the sake of not getting into it with someone because who has time these days?
Lord, man, if I was saying this at the very beginning that if we had some kind of a pass or something, and heck, you wear it kind of like those things that you get into conventions, and it's got I've been vaccinated, and you've got the seal or something. But I guess that would be very expensive if the government's not going to do that. And then how do you know people aren't forging it
Exactly.
and stuff, right?
It's a weird world.
Okay. Well, we'll keep posted on this area, and the day that I don't have to wear a mask out there, then I'll feel like I've truly gone full circle on this thing. I don't care what the numbers are, so long as I'm walking around my own office with this thing on here,
I hope they stay a little bit. I do like the idea of if you're not feeling well, you wearing it to help other people, how they do, in Japan.
But who are you helping now?
Well, no, just regular sickness
Okay,
even.
here's the point. Now, I don't want to sound like some of the radical people on podcasts, okay? Because I'm a pretty moderate guy, okay? So I'm not trying to be this way, but if you haven't gone out and gotten vaccinated yet, when there's a surplus of vaccination sitting on shelves, and I'm supposed to be protecting you because I'm fully vaccinated, walking around with this mask because you haven't gotten vaccinated yet, I'm sorry, okay?
I hope everyone who's able to get vaccinated has gotten vaccinated. I know that's not the case, but I'm talking more just in general around flu season. I feel like I get sick so easily, not even just COVID, anything like that. I think it's just a nice idea to adapt. If you're not feeling great, just put on that mask quickly. It's, 2 days, whatever. I think that would be helpful.
Well, that's a good thing to learn for something, and somebody sees you with a mask, okay, that person potentially has got something, so stay that's
away.
good.
Yes.
But right now, though,
I understand your point completely about right now.
they were saying, bear with us. I think Dr. Fauci said, 1 more month. Just hang us with, or maybe it was Biden, 1 more month, and we're going to be done with this thing if everybody complies with the masks and you're safe and blah, 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 blah. Okay? Then the vaccinations came, and then people stopped taking them, right?
I know. I think it's crazy.
And I've got to go out there, and I believe in taking care of my brother, man, my sister, right? I think it's my responsibility. But when people don't take care of themselves, and I now fully vaccinated, I'm not going to harm anybody. I don't think so. And I've got to walk out there in the 90 degrees weather.
That's the worst.
With a mask on. I could barely breathe. I could die of a heart attack out there because somebody didn't get vaccinated.
I mean, of course, there's that idea of, personal responsibility, and, you have done what you can do, and, we can't all just be waiting for the...
Yeah, you can't make somebody comply. Now, okay, some people might not have the capability of doing it, and, we have to try to make that available to them. And I think the government's done a wonderful job of it.
I think so.
I mean, if you went down to where I got my shots, that was down over at the Forum, and it's just a huge parking lot, man. And it was such a great operation. And I understand that that's been throughout the country. It was at Dodger Stadium, was similar to that. I mean, it was in and out. It was free. You didn't have to get out of your car. It was like, boop, okay, and we're going to watch it for 15 minutes. Thank you very much. And they were very nice. There's no downside, so long as you want to make yourself available. For those people that can't, I think that there's been accommodations for that as well. But anyways, I don't want to spend the whole program talking about why I don't like wearing masks. Okay, but we want to talk about something else because you came across an article that caught your fancy.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
So Utah has just passed, it was signed on March 16th, and it's going to go into effect in May, which it's just right around the corner, almost literally. that is going to require that any father whose paternity has been established to pay half of the mother's insurance premiums while she is pregnant and any related medical costs, including the actual birth itself.
Okay, now slow it down because you know that I'm from the Midwest and I not only talk slow, but I think slow. So you're telling me that in Utah, which is traditionally one of those red conservative states, that they pass legislation that goes into effect in May. Am I hearing you right so far?
Correct.
And they're actually going against fathers who, normally, I mean, they're protecting women. They're going against fathers, and they are making them pay for prenatal expenses. Okay, so like what kind of expenses?
So, routine blood work, not even routine, anything, I guess, that, the mother would need medically to have this child, the father can be ordered to pay for half of it.
Okay. Now, one thing that I heard you say that I wasn't familiar with it is an established father.
Yes.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here because I really don't know. They always say that the man never knows, right, until there's a genetic test, but the mother always knows, right? And I don't even know if that's true.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Somebody told me that once. But, the mom has a better idea than the father, okay? Father is in a dating relationship with a woman. They've been, dating for a couple of months. She comes around his place one day and says, "Guess what? I'm pregnant," right? "Aren't you happy?" And he's like, he's thinking, I don't know if that's mine, So is there a way for him to determine that this child is his, even though the child hasn't been born?
I believe it has to undergo genetic testing. Which
Okay.
is one of the interesting parts about this because, mothers have a right to not have those tests run, before the baby's born. In most states, I probably should have looked that up, but I do know that these testings do present some, very small, but there is a danger to the fetus. And so it puts the woman in an interesting position where if she needs the support, which often, women do when they're pregnant, that they have to just slightly endanger that fetus to prove the paternity and get that support. So it is interesting, but, on the other hand, people do lie about paternity, and, you don't want to put someone on the hook for something that they're, really not a part of or have that obligation.
Realistically, we're not talking about a lot of money, so in either side, but I didn't know about the endangering of the fetus like that.
It's very small.
Okay.
It's very small, but I know that's why, women can't really be forced to do that kind
Well,
of
they
testing.
shouldn't be.
Right.
They shouldn't be, but there has to be under this law, there has to be a determination, which
Yes.
tells me that most of the time what's going to happen is these expenses are going to be paid after the child's born,
Probably.
where you could actually get a paternity test without endangering anybody.
But going back to your comment about Utah being a conservative state and and I had the same reaction to it that, wow, it's so progressive of Utah. Come to find out, it's actually done more because
Abortion?
of abortion,
Yeah.
which I really, it did not cross my mind until I read the article.
I was driving here today. I was thinking about that. That's why they probably did it. And you know what? At least they're being consistent.
They have some very
They should have done it a long time ago.
yeah, and they one of the co-sponsors of the bill, he said this was not necessarily intended to be about abortion. It was the idea that abortion is happening because people are put in a really difficult situation. But I don't think the money is really the only reason why this.
Okay. Well,
can
you know what?
happen.
I got to tell you that as a family law attorney, I get really pissed off when somebody comes in my office and they're not making any money, they're broke, and some character out there is just, avoiding the whole situation. We get cases every now and then where the poor woman and they're usually really young people, gives birth to a baby, and of course, what else would they give birth to? Has a baby, and the father doesn't come around for like a year or two, and then suddenly, they get it, a feeling like they want to see the kid, and it's kind of cute, and then they want to play papa, and they haven't been around for a couple of years, and to me, that it's just such crap, and I love the fact that some of the clients that we've had have actually here in California gone after those prenatal expenses. I mean, we've had those before. And I think that that's very fair because especially with young women, I mean, it is such a financial strain, and that's where, as a family law attorney, young women really earn your respect, because you see what they go through to be a responsible mom.
Oh,
And there's just so many young men out there that won't, they want to deny, and they're not willing to step up until, it's cute to do so, right? And stuff. There's a lot of really good fathers. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we've got a lot of great fathers as clients, and even as opposing parties. I have to admit there's good fathers out there, but I'm talking about this one niche, right?
I mean, I was, just speaking about mothers, I was in Dallas visiting one of my best friends who has a 9-month-old baby. This is a perfect child. I love her with all my heart. I was exhausted the entire weekend. I don't know how my friend does it. I look up to all parents, and I feel like I always was very respectful of parents, but to really see it with your own eyes, and I'm sure if I ever become a parent myself, it's going to be a whole nother level.
Let me tell you, I've had 3, and it is the hardest thing that I've ever done, as far as trying to make it all work, and stuff. And it seems like with each child, it multiplies the stress. But by the time you have 3, they outnumber you, and it's very chaotic. But it's also if you love kids, it's the best thing that could ever happen to you. Let's talk a little bit about paternity. Because these cases that we're talking about, the prenatal expenses, I presume there wouldn't be any situations where people are married,
No.
And the husband is going, I'm not paying for your, that's just not realistic, right? But it's always a paternity case. And what really is interesting to me is historically paternity cases have been, they still are private, and why do you think that there's so much privacy around them?
Well, I think it comes from a pretty antiquated idea that there's something wrong with a child born out of wedlock, and therefore their privacy needs to be protected. I think that's what it must have started with. That's how the Old English law and common law probably put that in the forefront.
So who are they protecting?
I think they'd say they're protecting the child and potentially the mother as well.
Okay. Or how about the father? I tell you what I always thought, and you're probably right, and in this case I'm probably wrong, but I always thought they're protecting the married guy. The married guy that has a fling, there's a child out there, and we're not going to say, what that person's last name is. We're going to, you won't have access to online or anything like that.
That's interesting. And then I guess I didn't think about it, but, when the way estates used to be passed down, I wonder if, having a child out of wedlock could complicate that for like you said, the married, father of these other children. It's interesting how much of our laws are based on, like I said, these very antiquated ideas that that most people don't hold anymore.
Right, and what you started off by saying is that they're there to protect the infant child because there was this stigma of being a bastard child, right? And almost every family has a story of people trying to protect a child born out of wedlock. And my family's got quite a few of them, and I think even famous people like Jack Nicklaus, he's got a story where he was raised by, I don't know if it was his sister or...
He was raised by his grandmother, who they called mom, and then his sister was actually his mom, and he didn't find out, I don't know why, I just recently read about this, but he didn't find out until after they were both dead.
Yeah.
How horrible and sad for him.
Yeah, and it was just... Isn't that something? I mean, there was that much of a stigma where that went on all the time. And nowadays, I don't think there's the stigma anymore. I mean, it's just very common for people not to get married that have children and single moms and all of that.
I don't know if that's our, coastal bias that we're dealing with.
Okay.
I don't know if it's different maybe in some other places, but I feel fortunate that we, at least in California, Los Angeles, Pasadena, for the most part, I think that stigma is removed.
Okay. So, because I was going to ask you, is it time to change the secrecy?
I kind of think all family law matters should be, if one part is going to be secretive, then it all should be secretive, or if one's going to be non-secretive, it should all, be open. I don't think there's a difference between a paternity case and, a divorce with minor children.
Okay.
obviously the custody part
Yeah.
is what I'm discussing. But
Yeah. Well, the public has the right to know what people's income is and what their fights are and all that stuff. So, because I mean, it's more of a lack of, inconvenience. I hate having to figure out about a new client matter. Let's say that somebody comes and they've already had an attorney and they substitute us in, and we look online and we're trying to figure out what the case is. Sorry, you can't look there because, this is a paternity case, and so we have to go through these special, machinations to get the records and all that stuff. And I always think, why?
Yeah. And then I think, when we're thinking about our clients, of course we're thinking, we do know, oh, this is a divorce, this is a paternity case. But when you're just dealing with custody, it's very easy to not remember that the parties were never married, because your focus is obviously on what's going to be the best for the child. It doesn't matter that the parents were never married. It doesn't change our determination of how custody should work or how support is going to work.
And it plays out the same in court.
Right. And so, you forget, and then you come up, the LA case summary, and you come up and we don't have any records for that case. And
Yeah. In court, you got crazy people that have never been married, and you got crazy people that have been married, and you've got abusive people, and you've got drug addictions, and you've got problems with kids and all that stuff. And it's like the cases are identical. It's just the fact that, one set of parents were married and the other weren't, and stuff. So anyways, that was a good discussion.
I agree.
You know what? Thank you for bringing this up. I think that the world is better now that we know about prenatal expenses. Very good.
I aim to
look
please.
at your contribution to the world. I love it. Okay, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.